What if I told you that the muscle loss you've been accepting as a normal part of aging could be completely reversed? Not with expensive prescriptions or complicated medical procedures, but with two simple nutrients you take before bed. For decades, we've been told that losing muscle after 60 is inevitable, that our bodies just naturally decline, and we need to accept becoming weaker, more fragile, and dependent on others. But groundbreaking research from the University of Texas Medical Branch and McMaster University has shattered this belief completely. Scientists have discovered that the real culprit isn't aging itself, but a specific nutritional timing mistake almost everyone over 60 makes every single night. And here's what makes this discovery so powerful. When these two nutrients are taken together at night, they work synergistically during your sleep to trigger muscle protein synthesis at rates comparable to people in their 30s. If you want to discover exactly which two nutrients these are and why taking them at night changes everything, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you never miss life-changing health information designed specifically for people over 60. Now, before we dive into the solution, you need to understand why this matters so urgently. The medical term for age-related muscle loss is sarcopenia, and it's not just about looking less toned or feeling a bit weaker. According to research published in the Journal of the American Medical Directors Association, sarcopenia affects over 50 million people worldwide, and that number is expected to exceed 200 million by 2050. But here's what your doctor probably hasn't told you. Losing muscle mass doesn't just affect your strength. Every pound of muscle you lose increases your risk of falling by 12%. Falls are the leading cause of injury and death among adults over 65. When you fall and break a hip, statistics show that within 1 year, 20 to 30% of seniors who suffer hip fractures will die from complications. Those who survive often never regain their independence. Beyond falls, muscle loss directly impacts your metabolic health. Muscle tissue is metabolically active, meaning it burns calories even when you're resting. When you lose muscle, your metabolism slows down, making it easier to gain fat and harder to maintain a healthy weight. This metabolic shift increases your risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even certain cancers. Research from the Harvard School of Public Health found that older adults with sarcopenia have a 58%. When you fall and break a hip, statistics show that within 1 year, 20 to 30% of seniors who suffer hip fractures will die from complications. Those who survive often never regain their independence. Beyond falls, muscle loss directly impacts your metabolic health. Muscle tissue is metabolically active, meaning it burns calories even when you're resting. When you lose muscle, your metabolism slows down, making it easier to gain fat and harder to maintain a healthy weight. This metabolic shift increases your risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even certain cancers. Research from the Harvard School of Public Health found that older adults with sarcopenia have a 58% higher mortality risk compared to those who maintain their muscle mass. Your muscles also serve as a protein reservoir for your immune system. When you get sick or injured, your body pulls amino acids from your muscles to help fight infection and heal wounds. If you don't have adequate muscle mass, your immune system can't function optimally, leaving you vulnerable to infections that younger people would easily fight off. The stakes couldn't be higher. Your muscle mass determines whether you'll spend your later years traveling, playing with grandchildren, and living independently, or whether you'll struggle with basic tasks, rely on walkers or wheelchairs, and potentially end up in assisted living. The difference between these two futures often comes down to decisions you make today. For most of your life, your body maintained a careful balance between muscle protein synthesis, the building of new muscle tissue, and muscle protein breakdown, the natural degradation of muscle. When you were younger, this balance tipped slightly in favor of synthesis, especially after you ate protein-rich meals or exercised. But something changes after age 60. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition by Dr.
Blake Rasmussen and his team at the University of Texas discovered that older adults develop what's called anabolic resistance. This means your muscles become less responsive to the normal signals that trigger muscle growth. You can eat the same amount of protein as a younger person, but your muscles simply don't respond as efficiently. They found that while 20 to 25 grams of high-quality protein can maximize muscle protein synthesis in young adults, older adults need significantly more, approximately 35 to 40 grams per meal, to achieve the same response. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is where those two nutrients come in. Dr. Stuart Phillips and his research team at McMaster University made a breakthrough discovery about the timing of protein intake. They found that muscle protein synthesis doesn't happen uniformly throughout the day. During sleep, your body enters an extended fasting state that can last 8 to 10 hours. For younger people, this isn't a major problem because their muscles are highly sensitive to protein. But for older adults with anabolic resistance, this overnight fasting period becomes a window of accelerated muscle breakdown. Your body needs amino acids, the building blocks of protein, to maintain and repair tissues. When you're not eating, it has no choice but to break down muscle tissue to get those amino acids. Night after night, this process slowly erodes your muscle mass. The researchers discovered that this nighttime muscle loss could be prevented and even reversed by providing the right nutrients before bed. But not just any protein works. This is where the science gets specific. The two nutrients that have been proven to restore muscle mass when taken at night are casein protein and vitamin D. Let me explain why this specific combination is so powerful. Casein is a unique type of protein found primarily in dairy products.
Unlike whey protein, which is absorbed quickly, casein forms a gel-like substance in your stomach that's digested slowly over 7 to 8 hours. This slow release property makes it ideal for nighttime consumption because it provides a steady stream of amino acids to your muscles throughout the entire night. A landmark study published in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise by researchers at Maastricht University followed older adults who consumed 40 grams of casein protein before bed every night for 12 weeks. The results were remarkable. Participants experienced significant increases in muscle mass and strength, even without changing their exercise routines. The nighttime casein essentially acted as a shield against the muscle breakdown that normally occurs during sleep. But casein alone isn't the complete answer, and this is crucial. Vitamin D acts as the catalyst that makes the casein work even more effectively. Research from Tufts University found that vitamin D receptors exist in muscle tissue, and adequate vitamin D levels are essential for muscle protein synthesis. The study, published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, showed that older adults with vitamin D deficiency had significantly lower muscle mass and strength compared to those with optimal levels. Even more importantly, when vitamin D deficient seniors were given supplements, they experienced improvements in muscle function within just 3 months. Here's why vitamin D and casein work synergistically. Vitamin D enhances the sensitivity of muscle cells to amino acids. Think of it like this. Casein provides the building blocks, the amino acids, but vitamin D ensures that your muscle cells can actually use those building blocks efficiently. Without adequate vitamin D, you could take all the protein in the world and still not build muscle effectively.
A study from the University of Birmingham, published in Frontiers in Physiology, examined the combined effect of vitamin D and protein supplementation in older adults. They found that participants who received both vitamin D and protein showed significantly greater improvements in muscle mass and physical performance compared to those who received protein alone. The synergistic effect was undeniable. Now, before we go further, I want to make sure you're getting all the evidence-based health strategies designed specifically for people over 60. Take a moment right now to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. We're building a community of informed, empowered seniors who refuse to accept decline as inevitable. Don't miss out on future videos that could transform your health. Now, let's talk about the specific mechanisms at work here. When you consume casein before bed, it's broken down into amino acids, particularly leucine, which is the most important amino acid for triggering muscle protein synthesis. Leucine activates a cellular pathway called mTOR, which stands for Mechanistic Target of Rapamycin. This pathway is like a master switch that tells your muscle cells to start building new protein. Research published in the journal Cell Metabolism showed that mTOR activation is significantly reduced in older adults, which partially explains anabolic resistance.
However, when you provide a large dose of leucine-rich protein like casein, you can overcome this resistance and activate mTOR effectively. Vitamin D supports this process through multiple mechanisms. First, it increases the number and function of vitamin D receptors in muscle tissue. Second, it enhances calcium absorption, and calcium is essential for muscle contraction and protein synthesis. Third, vitamin D has anti-inflammatory properties. Chronic low-grade inflammation, which increases with age, interferes with muscle protein synthesis.
By reducing inflammation, vitamin D creates a more favorable environment for muscle growth. A study from the Journal of Steroid Biochemistry and Molecular Biology found that vitamin D supplementation reduced inflammatory markers in older adults while simultaneously improving muscle function. But there's another critical factor that makes nighttime supplementation so effective: growth hormone. Your body naturally releases growth hormone during deep sleep, typically in the first few hours after you fall asleep. Growth hormone is one of the most powerful anabolic hormones, meaning it promotes tissue growth and repair. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation showed that growth hormone secretion declines with age, which contributes to muscle loss. However, when you provide your body with amino acids from casein during the same window when growth hormone is elevated, you create an optimal anabolic environment. The growth hormone signals your muscles to grow, and the amino acids provide the raw materials needed to make that growth happen. This is why timing matters so much. Taking protein at night isn't just about preventing muscle breakdown, it's about capitalizing on your body's natural anabolic window during sleep. Studies using stable isotope methodology, the gold standard for measuring muscle protein synthesis, have confirmed that nighttime protein intake increases overnight muscle protein synthesis rates by 22 to 30% compared to not consuming protein before bed. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Why hasn't your doctor told you about this? The truth is, most physicians receive minimal nutrition education in medical school. A study published in Academic Medicine found that only 29% of medical schools provide the recommended minimum of 25 hours of nutrition education. Doctors are trained to treat disease with medications, not to optimize health with nutrition.
Additionally, pharmaceutical companies don't fund research on nutrients because they can't be patented and don't generate massive profits. This means that nutritional interventions, no matter how effective, often remain in academic journals rather than becoming mainstream medical advice. But the evidence is overwhelming. A meta-analysis published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine reviewed 27 studies on protein supplementation in older adults. The analysis concluded that protein supplementation, particularly when combined with resistance exercise, significantly increased lean body mass and leg strength in older adults. The studies that specifically examined nighttime protein intake showed even more pronounced benefits. Another critical piece of research comes from the PROT-AGE study group, an international team of experts on protein and aging. Their consensus statement, published in the Journal of the American Medical Directors Association, recommended that older adults consume 1.0 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day, significantly higher than the current recommended dietary allowance. They specifically noted that distributing protein evenly throughout the day, including before bed, was optimal for maintaining muscle mass. Let's talk about vitamin D dosing specifically. The Institute of Medicine recommends 600 to 800 international units per day for older adults, but many researchers believe this is far too low. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition by Dr. Robert Heaney argued that optimal vitamin D status for muscle health requires blood levels of 25-hydroxyvitamin D above 30 nanograms per milliliter, and achieving this often requires supplementation of 1,000 to 2,000 international units daily, sometimes more depending on individual factors like body weight, skin pigmentation, and geographic location.
Research from Boston University School of Medicine found that vitamin D deficiency is epidemic among older adults, with studies showing that 40 to 100% of community-dwelling elderly in the United States and Europe are deficient. This widespread deficiency is a major contributing factor to the sarcopenia epidemic. The combination of low vitamin D and inadequate nighttime protein creates a perfect storm for muscle loss. Here's something else fascinating. Recent research has shown that the benefits of nighttime casein and vitamin D extend beyond just muscle mass. A study published in the journal Nutrients found that improving muscle mass through protein supplementation also improved insulin sensitivity, meaning better blood sugar control. Participants showed reductions in fasting blood glucose and hemoglobin A1C, a marker of long-term blood sugar control.
This makes sense because muscle tissue is the primary site for glucose disposal in the body. More muscle means better blood sugar regulation. Additionally, research from the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research found that the combination of adequate protein intake and vitamin D supplementation improved bone mineral density in older adults. This is crucial because sarcopenia and osteoporosis often occur together, a condition called osteosarcopenia. By addressing muscle loss, you're also protecting your bones, further reducing your fall and fracture risk. The cardiovascular benefits are also noteworthy. A study in the American Heart Journal found that higher muscle mass was associated with lower cardiovascular disease risk in older adults. The researchers hypothesized that muscle tissue helps regulate metabolism and inflammation, both of which impact heart health. Some of you might be thinking, what about kidney concerns with higher protein intake? This is a common myth that needs to be addressed.
Research published in Nutrition and Metabolism reviewed the evidence and concluded that high-protein diets do not harm kidney function in healthy older adults. The confusion comes from the fact that people with existing kidney disease need to limit protein, but for those with normal kidney function, higher protein intake is safe and beneficial. In fact, a study in the Journal of Nutrition, Health, and Aging found that older adults who consumed higher amounts of protein had better overall health outcomes, including lower mortality rates. Now that you understand the science, let's get into the specific, actionable steps you need to take to restore your muscle mass starting tonight. This is your practical roadmap, and I want you to follow it precisely because the details matter. Step 1. Determine your personal protein target. Take your body weight in pounds and divide by 2.2 to get your weight in kilograms, then multiply by 1.2. For example, if you weigh 165 pounds, that's 75 kilograms, times 1.2 equals 90 grams of protein per day. This is your daily minimum. Step 2. Distribute your protein throughout the day. Divide your daily protein target by 4 meals. Using our example, that's about 23 grams per meal. However, remember that breakfast, lunch, and dinner should contain 35 to 40 grams to overcome anabolic resistance, which means your nighttime serving will be slightly smaller, around 25 to 30 grams, but still substantial. Step 3. Choose the right casein source for nighttime. The most concentrated source is casein protein powder. 1 scoop typically provides 24 to 30 grams of casein protein. Mix it with water or unsweetened almond milk about 30 to 60 minutes before bed. If you prefer whole food sources, Greek yogurt is excellent. 1 cup of plain Greek yogurt contains approximately 17 grams of protein, much of it casein.
Cottage cheese is another great option, with 1 cup providing about 28 grams of protein. Some people prefer to have a combination, like half a scoop of casein powder mixed into Greek yogurt for a total of 30 to 35 grams. The key is consistency. You must do this every single night. Step 4. Optimize your vitamin D levels. First, get your vitamin D blood levels tested. Ask your doctor for a 25-hydroxyvitamin D test. Your goal is to achieve levels between 40 and 60 nanograms per milliliter. If you're deficient, which is likely, you'll need to supplement. For most people over 60, a daily dose of 2,000 international units is a good starting point, but some may need more. Take your vitamin D supplement with your nighttime protein because vitamin D is fat-soluble and absorbs better when taken with food. If you're using Greek yogurt or cottage cheese, the small amount of fat in these foods is sufficient. If you're using protein powder mixed with water, add a small handful of nuts or a teaspoon of nut butter to improve absorption. Step 5. Add resistance exercise. While nighttime protein and vitamin D will help preserve and even build some muscle on their own, combining them with resistance exercise amplifies the results dramatically. You don't need a gym membership or fancy equipment. Bodyweight exercises, resistance bands, or light dumbbells are sufficient. Aim for 2 to 3 sessions per week, focusing on major muscle groups, legs, chest, back, and arms. Each session should last 20 to 30 minutes. Exercises like squats, wall push-ups, seated rows with resistance bands, and bicep curls are perfect. The key is progressive overload, gradually increasing the difficulty over time. Start with what you can do comfortably, even if it's just 5 repetitions, and slowly build from there. Step 6. Time your largest protein meal after exercise. On days when you do resistance exercise, try to schedule it in the late afternoon or early evening. Then consume your largest protein meal within 2 hours after your workout. This post-exercise window is when your muscles are most receptive to amino acids. Then, still have your nighttime casein serving before bed for overnight muscle protection. Step 7. Stay hydrated. Protein metabolism requires adequate water. Aim for 8 to 10 glasses of water throughout the day. Dehydration can impair muscle protein synthesis, so don't neglect this simple but crucial step. Step 8.
Monitor your progress. Every 4 weeks, assess your progress. Take measurements of your arms, thighs, and waist. Track your strength by noting how many repetitions you can do of specific exercises. Pay attention to functional improvements. Are stairs easier? Can you carry groceries more comfortably? Is your balance better? These real-world improvements are just as important as measurements. If you're not seeing progress after 8 weeks, increase your protein intake slightly, or ensure you're truly taking your nighttime serving every single night. Consistency is everything. Step 9. Address sleep quality. Since muscle repair happens during sleep, you need to prioritize getting 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night. Your nighttime casein can actually help with this, because casein contains tryptophan, an amino acid that promotes sleep. Keep your bedroom cool, dark, and quiet. Avoid screens for at least an hour before bed. If you have sleep issues, address them with your doctor, because poor sleep will undermine your muscle-building efforts. Step 10. Be patient but persistent. You didn't lose your muscle mass overnight, and you won't restore it overnight. However, research shows that you can expect to see measurable improvements within 8 to 12 weeks if you follow this protocol consistently.
Some people notice functional improvements like better balance and more energy even sooner, within 4 to 6 weeks. The key is to make this a permanent lifestyle change, not a temporary fix. This is now how you eat and live. Think of it as your nightly muscle insurance policy. You now have the knowledge that most doctors don't even know, and certainly aren't sharing with their patients. You understand that muscle loss after 60 is not inevitable. It's a nutritional deficiency that can be corrected with 2 specific nutrients taken at the right time. You know that casein protein provides the slow-release amino acids your muscles need throughout the night, and vitamin D acts as the catalyst that makes those amino acids work effectively. You've seen the research from prestigious universities showing that this combination can restore muscle mass, improve strength, reduce fall risk, enhance metabolic health, and potentially add years of independence to your life. The question is, what will you do with this information? Will you take action tonight, or will you let another night of muscle breakdown occur? Your future self is counting on the decisions you make today. Start tonight. Get casein protein powder or Greek yogurt and vitamin D supplements. Take them 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Do this every single night without exception. Add resistance exercise 2 to 3 times per week. Within 12 weeks, you'll be stronger, more stable, and more capable than you are right now. If you found this information valuable, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications right now so you never miss another evidence-based health strategy designed specifically for people over 60. Share this video with friends and family members who need to hear this message. Drop a comment below telling me you're committing to this protocol starting tonight. Let's build a community of seniors who refuse to accept decline and choose strength instead.
Your best years are still ahead of you, but only if you have the muscle mass to enjoy them. Take action now.